The nice guy dilemma. Do women really want nice guys or dominant men? Hey, it's Brett Parker. Good morning. It's 5:30 a.m. here in the East. And welcome to the first episode of the Brett Parker Show. I'm Brett Parker, and my goal is to help you create intentionally good relationships. So let's dive right into this juicy topic. So nice guys are classified as more subservient, more giving, more sensitive, less bossy, right? Like they want to be nice. Their goal is to be nice. Their goal is to be liked. And that's where they sometimes get into trouble. And what is a dominant man? Well, a dominant man is not a toxic masculine man. Now, toxic masculinity is something different. It's not what I mean by dominant men. Okay, in each relationship, there is a dominant and there is a submissive. Sometimes it goes back and forth. In the healthier relationships, usually one is the dominant and one is the submissive. Sometimes it's the woman, sometimes it's the man. So I want you to come at this, if possible, come at this conversation with an open mind. I understand that we all have preconceived notions, which one we think is the right answer, which guy we think is the better guy, right? But let's have a real conversation about it because it's an interesting topic. Like I have been married and then I've been single. I've been single now for a while. And what I found in the single world is that women do prefer a dominant man. Now, I'm not sure that holds true for everyone, but that's been my experience. And it's helped me immensely to own those parts of my personality. So let's talk about the nice guy stereotype. What is the nice guy? Are you a nice guy? Are you a self-prescribed nice guy, self-described nice guy? Nice guys get kind of a bad rap, right? They live in the friend zone most of the time because they're so nice. They're so busy taking care of a woman's feelings. And we think that that's what we should be doing. That's why nice guys behave that way, right? And where does it come from? Well, so a lot of times it comes from who's the first woman that you tried to take care of, to be nice to. It was your mom, right? I mean, for me, it was my mom. My mom was, I was raised by a single mom. She was amazing. She was dynamic. She was charismatic. She was desired by men. And yet she was also, I saw the other side where she was vulnerable and she was angry and she was, frustrated. And so it was my job, or I thought it was my job, to take care of her. And I think I probably acted in a way that a lot of nice guys act with my mom. And so if you acted that way with your mom, or your mom brought you up to believe that you should be a nice guy, that's where a lot of that behavior comes from. Now, I never was a nice guy except to my mom, right? For some reason, I didn't have that in my sexual dynamic with women. I was always more dominant. And I only got into trouble when I backed off of that, right? When I became more agreeable, more submissive. Now, that doesn't mean to be a bully, right? That's toxic masculinity. We're not talking about that. We're talking about relationship dynamic. Okay, cool. All right. So here's a question from a viewer. Why do nice guys never get the girl? Women will tell you, because they believe it, that they want a nice guy. But the truth is, a lot of nice guys leave out the part of their personality, the masculine part of their personality, because they think that's offensive. They think that's going to rub her the wrong way, whereas she actually really likes it. So why do nice guys never get the girl? Well, do they never get the girl? Seemingly so, because they always get friend zoned. So why would a nice guy get the friend zone? Because his primary concerns are A, to be liked, and B, to take care of a woman's feelings, right? So trying to be liked is a trap, okay? And this is something I talk about all the time with my married men who are struggling because they stopped having sex with their wife. Their wife stopped having sex with them. And so this is the behavior that gets you into trouble, trying to be liked. Women don't want a nice guy. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Women don't want a nice guy. And this is backed up by research. Women, over 75% of women in the world, say that they are looking for a kind man. Now, kind doesn't mean nice. It can be a synonym, but when we're talking about men, and we're talking about nice guys, and we're talking about relationships, that's a difference. Like when we hear nice guy, it just doesn't sit well. It means that you're not taking care of yourself first. And the most attractive thing to a woman is a man living into his purpose. So what's the most attractive thing on anyone, man or woman? Confidence. So who is exhibiting more confidence? A nice guy who's worried about a woman's feelings, who wants to be liked, who is agreeable, or a man who's confident in himself, living into his purpose, or a man who's living into his purpose, and those are his main goals for his life, and he wants you along for the ride, right? That's a great analogy for the man that women are looking for. I'm living into my purpose. I love you. I want you with me, right? That's the sensation that women want. That's the real sensation that they want. That you have their, so what happens in that dynamic? Well, if I'm a dominant man and I want you with me, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure that your back is covered, that you are supported, that wherever you are in the world, I'm with you, I'm behind you, and you feel me supporting you. Now, think about that as opposed to being a nice guy. Do women feel supported by a nice guy? Not really. They don't feel any strength. They don't feel like there's a back there, like there's a backbone, like there's support. So here's the best way to describe it is that there's a polarity, right? Polarity between your masculine energy and a woman's feminine energy. And when you're with a woman and you feel like you are in your purposeful, strong, confident, driven, focused, logical energy, that's masculine, then perhaps that's the right woman for you because that's going to create polarity where you literally magnetically attract to each other, right? You are drawn towards each other and you've seen it and hopefully you felt it, right? There was a woman that you guys were just fucking, drawn to each other. It's amazing. So what happens when you lose that polarity, and this happens a lot in marriages. So what happens in marriage? Well, we go from attraction and dating to everyday life, to being roommates, to being teammates, okay? And so oftentimes we want to make the other person happy. And a man can easily slip into that caretaking mode that I'm going to put her needs ahead of mine mode, which causes a whole lot of problems. Now, the thing that makes it worse, and I think this is why a lot of divorces happen, is that a woman believes that those things will make her happy. Or she will mistakenly verbalize that he needs to do more to make her happy. That's not what she means. What she means is she needs you to show up in a way that she can rely on you, that she knows you're there, that she doesn't feel you under her feet all the time, asking her, what's wrong, honey? How you feeling, honey? What can I do, honey? None of that bullshit, right? She wants to feel supported. She needs to feel safe. And she needs to feel that magnetic pull. Otherwise, there's nothing for her to attach to. Why would she want to be home in bed with you if there's no masculine energy for her feminine energy to attract to? So, let's talk about the alpha male persona. We all hear about the term alpha male, right? You want to be an alpha male. Well, not everybody is an alpha male. There are only a certain number of them. And if that's not your personality, then that's not who you should be trying to be. I think a lot of toxic masculinity comes from beta males trying to be alpha male. Now, a lot of guys are just naturally more beta, and that's fine. It doesn't mean you're any less masculine, okay? So the most common misconception about an alpha male is that he's toxic, is that he's a bully. He is by no means a bully, okay? An alpha male is defined as the most influential member of a social group. An alpha leader's mentality is strong, confident, assertive, and in control of his environment. He has the ability to lead, motivate, and inspire those around him while maintaining a sense of power over his peers. Okay? So, is that a toxic person? No, it's a leader, right? Now, not everybody is that leader. Not everybody leads that way. But in your household, in your relationship, there needs to be a dominant and a submissive. Otherwise, you're power struggling for the whole time, and that's when marriages and relationships get into this competition mode. This you got this and I didn't get any of that mode. And that's just poison, and it kills it. So why are alpha men attractive in relationships? Well, think about it. Why would a woman be attracted to an alpha male? Because they don't have to do anything. Because he's in control. He's leading, right? And that's what your wife wants or your girlfriend wants. That's what women want. They want you to lead. Now, they will show up and create the relationship. That's them. That's what they love to do. That's what puts them in their feminine energy. But you have to lead them there. And that's when she'll feel comfortable showing you her feminine self. Okay? So the potential drawbacks of an alpha male are when they overstep, or when they become too aggressive, or when they get power crazy with their dominant. It's okay to be dominant. It's okay to be the leader. It's good to be the leader because everybody every group needs a leader. But you can get into trouble if you have a strong woman with a lot of masculine energy and an alpha male. Well, one of two things are going to happen in that scenario. And it happens all the time because strong women don't usually put up with submissive males. They want an alpha male. So what happens? Well, either the really strong women will submit and step in. So him, the alpha male, showing up in his masculinity and his masculine energy, she will then naturally slip back into her feminine energy. That doesn't mean she becomes less powerful. It doesn't mean she loses her professional status, or she becomes less motivated or ambitious. It just means in the dynamic of the relationship, she understands intrinsically that her energy needs to line up with his. Otherwise, there's going to be conflict, right? If both of you are trying to be the boss, it doesn't work. One of you has to lead and the other one has to follow. Make sense? So here's a question from a viewer. Does being an alpha male mean I have to be disrespectful? Good question. A lot of people have that misconception. And the answer is no. But the bigger question is, why are you trying to be an alpha if you're not an alpha, right? You can be the leader in your relationship. You should be, if you're a man, the leader in your relationship without trying to be an alpha male, right? Just be conscious of it. Understand that if you're dating, who needs to make the plans? Well, the man does. Right? It doesn't mean that she's going to agree with everything that you've done, but you see it on dating profiles all the time. Women are looking for the man who will tell them where and when to show up, and then they'll look beautiful. There's nothing more satisfying than having a woman show up in her feminine, and she's beautiful, and she's sexy, and she's everything you want her to be, because you told her where and when to be. She feels safe. She feels safe enough to be her most feminine, attractive, hot self. And then as a man, you're like, wow, this stuff works, right? But by no means should you be trying to be alpha. If you're not intrinsically an alpha male, be yourself. We all have masculine energy, right? Be aware of your energy. So when you're interacting with your wife or your girlfriend, what are you using? Are you being submissive? Are you trying to be creative and welcoming? Those are more feminine energy, right? So more masculine energy is more purpose-driven, more confident, strong, focused, logical, right? So here's a scenario. So your wife or your girlfriend tells you her problem. She's having a really bad problem at work with a colleague. The best thing you can do is to sit there and listen actively, let her know that you're with her, and then simply tell her, I understand how you feel. When we get into trouble, when men get into trouble, and this is our nature is to try and solve the problem. But that's not what women want. They don't want you to try to solve the problem, right? Now, if you want to offer her a suggestion, ask her. She'll love that. Hey, babe, do you mind if I give you a suggestion? She will she'll say, no, thanks, I'm good. I just needed to get it off my chest. Or sure, I'd love to hear it, right? Because women are not, as men, we want to move and reshape and help and guide, and that's a masculine energy. But in those instances, in those circumstances, that's not what a woman wants. It's really important to balance in a relationship, in your marriage, dominance and respect. Now, you can tell your wife or your girlfriend where to meet you in a really beautiful way. Or you can call her up, and if you're traveling, if you're on the road, or if she's on the road and you're on the phone with her or you're texting, hey babe, did you eat yet? Like that's a male dominant behavior. You're looking out for her to help her feel supported and safe. Now, take that a step further. What if you had food delivered to her hotel room or delivered home when you were away, right? Even more masculine behavior, right? That's dominant. I'm taking care of you. I've got you. That's all a woman wants to hear or feel, really. They want to feel like you've got them. And once you have that dynamic, you do have them. Like they're yours. We've talked a little bit about this, but really, like, how do you integrate respect and dominance into your relationship? Well, you have to figure out when and where to step into that masculine energy and to lead, all right? And to be the dominant one. You should be the dominant one most of the time. Sometimes your wife is going to be, she's in charge. or your girlfriend is going to be in charge, whatever, wherever she stakes her claim. But as long as she feels comfortable doing that, and she feels comfortable with you as the leader, if she trusts you, you will have no problem with her submitting. We hear a lot of bullshit these days about submitting, submissive women. Bullshit. Women will naturally submit to a man who shows up in his masculine energy. The most powerful, successful women will submit if a man who's exhibiting the right amount of masculine energy shows up for her. Right? It's what happens. It's like taming the tiger, the taming of the shrew. I don't know if you remember that. It's Shakespeare. That's really the balance. That's really the polarity. The polarity is, when are you in your masculine energy and when is she in her feminine energy, and vice versa. And what happens is that when you're in a relationship, especially over a long period of time, those lines, those instances get blurred. Right? If you're dating, well, you show up to pick up your girl, your woman, you're in your masculine, or I hope you are. She comes out and you tell her how beautiful she looks and you've got the whole evening planned and she's relying on you, right? Like, there's a movie with Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman, right? They're dating. And he picks her up for Valentine's. And he's got the whole thing planned. He's made an itinerary. He used Google Maps, right? Now, that's him leading the relationship, leading the evening. All she has to do is show up and look beautiful. And then she can thrive. That doesn't mean she's going to sit there with a dumb look on her face. It means that she's going to feel comfortable. I hope that's helpful. So, here's another question from a viewer. How can I shift from being a nice guy to a respected, dominant partner without changing who I am? Amazing question. So there's a certain point in being a nice guy where you start to subvert or subjugate your own needs. When you feel yourself stepping over that boundary, that's a really good sign that you're not in a good place. When you're able to communicate your boundaries and you're able to be firm in those boundaries, then you will be in the strongest, best place. It doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. It doesn't mean you have to be a bully. But when you show up and your first and second and third agenda is to make sure that the person you're dating or in a relationship with or are married to is taken care of, is, their needs are number 1, 2, and 3 on your list, then you're not there. Then you're just being a nice guy. And women experience that as weak. She feels like you're being needy. Even if you're saying, hey, babe, do you need me to do anything for you today? How are you feeling? Can I, or if you buy her gifts all the time, or you want to, even like date nights. Like, I fucking hate date night. Just because it feels needy and weak. Like, if you want to take your wife out, make a plan and take her out, right? Be that guy. Lead the relationship. If you guys haven't had sex in a while, you haven't had alone time in a while, make a plan. That's leading, right? Get a babysitter. Don't tell her about any of it and say, hey, I've got the whole thing planned. I got a babysitter. I got your mom coming over to take care of the kids, whatever it is. That's leading, right? Asking her, well, how are you feeling? I know we haven't really been connecting. Do you want to? No, don't ask her, do you want to? Do not. She doesn't want that from you. She wants you to lead. If you suggest something that she doesn't want to do, she's going to let you know, believe me. So, yeah, so there's really, really easy, actionable tips like that, right? Like making sure she's eating, getting her lunch without her, when she feel, like I said at the very beginning, When a woman feels like somebody has her back, that's what she wants. Now, you can do that without being a bully. You can do that without being an alpha male. You don't have to be an alpha to do that. Right? Like, this is your woman. This is the main person in your life. You got to make sure she's taken care of. Right? It doesn't mean asking her, right? Not asking, but leading. You have to lead that. I hope that's clear, because it can get muddled. Met a lot of women being single. I think women, when they're single, are more open to telling you what they want sexually. Certainly, I've had that experience, meeting women in their 30s. I think women in their 30s and their 20s are more open to telling you what they want sexually. But even the older women that I've gone out with, 40s and 50s, they will tell you that if they want you to dominate in the bedroom, they'll tell you, right? I dated a woman who was really established in her career, strong, formidable, smart, made a lot of money, drove a fancier car than I did. She told me in no uncertain terms that in the bedroom, she wanted me to tell her to sit down and shut the fuck up. Right? Because she understood that would trigger her own feminine energy and allow her to be the sensual, open, inviting one. Okay? If your wife or your girlfriend is open and available and vulnerable and willing to do that, great. Listen. Listen to what she tells you. Don't just do what you think you should. My goal in creating this episode is to let you understand that there's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to men and women, when it comes to masculine and feminine energy, when it comes to dominant and submissive. Now, nice guy, can you be nice and dominant at the same time? Yes, you can, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a nice guy, right? Like nice guys finish last, or the nice guy never gets the girl. That's what I mean by a nice guy. And if you're a self-ascribed nice guy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right? So you can be kind and still be in your masculine energy and still lead the relationship and still get the respect and the admiration and the loyalty that you want, because that's what we want as men, right? We want to be respected. We want to be admired by our woman. We want them to be loyal, to support us. The most important qualities for you to exhibit in the relationship are the masculine ones at the right time. Doesn't mean, so what would be the wrong thing is to assert yourself if you're not that person, to try to assert some authority, right? That's not what this is. This is being about, in your masculine energy, calm, logical, focused, driven, ambitious, confident, right? If you are that guy is endlessly attractive, regardless of what you look like, right? You walk into a room feeling like that, feeling all those adjectives, women naturally gravitate towards you. They come to you. You don't have to chase them. You shouldn't be chasing after your wife. You shouldn't be chasing after your girlfriend. She would prefer to chase you. Now, she'll deny that till the end, but she would much rather be the one who's texting you during the day, right? Who's saying, hey, how do you feel, right? Like, she's much more, or telling you about something that happened during the day, or things like that. She's much more comfortable with that. She's not comfortable with you biting at her feet like a little puppy dog, right? And she doesn't want that. She just wants, you're the mountain, right? The man, and this is what being a dominant man is about, is being the mountain, is being the rock where she lays her head on at night, right? That's what dominant means. Dominant does not mean I tell you what to do and what to wear and how you... Bullshit. That's not fucking dominant. That's weak. That's insecure, right? If you go out on a date with a woman Or if you're texting with a woman on an app or something and you ask her if she can be submissive, you're fucking weak. Right? That's weak sauce, man. Don't bring that shit. You show up as a man and she will submit, I promise. Otherwise you don't have a relationship. Otherwise you don't have a sexual dynamic. Because in every sexual dynamic, whether it's a man and a woman or two men or two women, whatever, there's a dominant and there's a submissive. There has to be. Does that make sense?